Hey, guess where I am? Yep, live from West 4th Street at the West 4th Street court. I just got a glimpse of George the Messiah. We're totally doing basketball stalking today. Just a few minutes, just actually a half hour ago, we were in Harlem at Rucker Park, and there we saw Hammer Stevens. And anyway, we went from there to here, and we're basketball court hopping today with Lucas and Tony, who were over there watching the game. But anyway, it's been a while since I did any lives because I'm in New York. We've been traveling, and sometimes it's just not conducive to do lives. But there's nothing like the excitement of a live game than to do a live, but also because I can still tell you all the news that is happening right now in Jerusalem because it's just absolutely going crazy over there. Today was a full-on strike. I'm thinking if it's like it's almost 11 o'clock at night. I'm guessing right, 4 o'clock plus 7. So anyway, they are. There was a strike today that was led by the families of the hostages, calling for an end to the war, not an expansion of the war, which is exactly the direction that Israel is actually heading right now, is to expand the war in Gaza. But the decision, I mean, this comes from, it was like about 2 weeks ago that Hamas and Islamic Jihad released videos of two hostages who were absolutely emaciated. They're like, you see the collarbone on the one guy. I mean, they were looked emaciated and broken and suffering. And then after that, Israel decided, the cabinet voted to expand the military operation in Gaza. And that has set off the families of the hostage families, like, and others, other Israelis who are against the war, saying like, no, 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 you cannot don't do this. You're basically, this is a death sentence for the hostages. But anyway, so like I said, if you're just joining now, I am at West 4th Street in Manhattan in New York City at the West 4th Street courts, which are like, it's where it's like a destination for basketball lovers. There's he was here before, George the Messiah, if you know anything about basketball, and that this is like he's got like a following on social media and stuff. If you see a guy in an orange shirt with the big beard, anyway. So all right, so we've got crazy protests going on in Israel. There was a massive heat wave last week. I think that broke, and thank God we missed it because we were traveling. And the other thing, there's a lot going on with Hezbollah as well in Lebanon. The Lebanese government has voted to disarm all groups, all non-state actors, like all like militias, and so that includes Hezbollah, which said like no way, we're not disarming. So there's like a showdown brewing there. I think they have till October to figure out what's going to happen there. And then, there's a lot I've been reading about where, Hezbollah is not going to just say, okay, here's our weapons, just take them. They spent a lot of time and money, and Iran spent a lot of time and money building up their arsenal there. So they're not just, going to drop it so lightly. So that's one thing to keep an eye on. Now, another thing is the Druze. Remember a couple weeks ago, there was, and by the way, shout out to Bethany. Hello. Um, Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in from wherever you are. If you're just tuning in, I am not in Jerusalem, where I usually am doing lives from Manhattan, from West 4th Street. Right around the corner, there are two amazing Italian restaurants, by the way, that we always love to go to. Villa Mosconi down that way, and Monty's right actually beyond this wall. We have to go to that street, McDougal Street, and and anyway, highly recommended. Got Raya right here. Right, Raya didn't realize she came along for the ride. Lucas over here, he'll probably be embarrassed if I get him on camera, so I won't. And Tony's watching the game. It's a very intense game. The adult men are playing. All right, so a couple weeks ago, the Druze in southern Syria, there was a huge like a attack on the Druze village of Sueda, and it was setting up basically the Syrian forces, which are, of the government, which were up until recently classified as a terrorist organization. They were, whatever complications there were, totally entered into Sueda and massacred many. The troops defended themselves. I still don't have numbers as to how many were killed. Actually, don't know. I don't know if it's like 1,000 or thousands. I know also Israeli Druze. Israel has a very big Druze population, and they were there. They tried to break in. Some of them succeeded, crossing the Israeli border with Syria to get there to help defend their brothers over there. So that was one thing. Now there's still things going on regarding that. Like, for instance, who's going to actually defend the? There's actually Israel is actually possibly defending the area. But there's some kind of talks going on as to who is going to be in charge, and if it's not going to be the Syrian government because of the complications. Now, I'm about to upload a video. I interviewed somebody, interviewed Reverend Majid Al Shafie, who works with and on behalf of persecuted minority groups around the world. And he talks a lot about, he addressed the issue with Syria. It's, they're slowly, methodically going after all the minority groups. So that will give more insight into that when I upload it, which should be either later today or tomorrow. Okay, so the thing I was going to tell you also about the Druze is that I saw pictures. The ones in southern Syria are actually like they're flying Israeli flags in southern Syria, like basically aligning themselves against the state and with Israel. So that is unbelievable. It's something we definitely need to follow and see exactly what goes on over there. Okay, so the main news from today, though, is the massive strike and protests going on all around the country. Um, I know that there are some countries, some companies were shut down. I know some companies. I don't know which ones. I don't know how many, what the percentage was, but there was a shutdown of companies. There's protests everywhere, convoys everywhere, marches everywhere. A lot going on at Hostage Square. Just speeches, and there was even a really moving speech by the sister of the hostage from Nepal. I think his name is Bipin Joshi. So the sister and the mother came to Israel for the first time just recently, and because just difficult for them to get here and expensive and uncertain. But they just came to Israel, and the sister gave a really moving speech just about how they have done everything and to what can they do? She said, we've been praying, talking to the government over there, but also really praying. And she goes, prayers are just not enough. We needed to come here. So they joined with that. And she talked about her brother who just came to learn farming techniques. And he was working at an Israeli kibbutz on October 7th, last, to 2023, so it's 2 years now. And he was kidnapped among other foreign workers. Many actually at that kibbutz were killed. It was kibbutz Salomim. Many of them were killed. So anyway, there's been no sign of life, no word as to what's going on with him. But so that was that was also part of, they were part of all of the protests. The girlfriend of uh, Matan Zangaoker, she dressed in a, she put on a wedding dress, and also gave her speech in a wedding dress, saying like, "I'm waiting for my my future husband to come back. So please make a deal. Please get him out." So it was a very intense day. Actually, it's been days, weeks of intensity since the government made the announcement that they're going to expand the war in Gaza. So it's happening as in addition to, like, parallel to all of the calls for more humanitarian aid to get into Gaza. And there have been still there has been an increase, like in terms of like other organizations, not just the ones that's approved by Israel and the U.S., but also airdrops, even from, was it Indonesia? I think Indonesia also did an airdrop, which was a big deal because they don't have diplomatic relations with Israel, and they had to get approval to fly over Israeli airspace to drop the aid. So there have been evacuation orders for several new neighborhoods in Gaza City. And now, if you remember, a year ago, more than a year ago, around this time, in spring and summer, where Netanyahu was saying we need to take Rafah. Rafah is the city on the border in the south that's between Egypt and Gaza. We need to take Rafah, and once we do that, we will have one. And now they're saying now that, like, Rafah's taken, but the war's not over. And he said now we have to take Gaza City, and then they're going to basically like sterilize. It's like full sterilize. That sounds horrible, but it's one of the words being used. Actually, like just uh, make sure that all the areas are cleared of terrorists. But to do that, they need to clear the area of all of the people. So they plan to move all of the people from Gaza City to other areas, and then they will take that, and then methodically go through until all of Gaza is taken over militarily. So there's a whole big deal about that, about like, I'd have to sit down with notes and not at a basketball game and like, tell you like, okay, so apparently investigate, great shot. Okay, Sophia's telling me my voice is going in and out. Okay, sorry about that. It's chaotic here. All right, well, anyway, in terms of what the military goal is, it's one thing, but in terms of what it means for the people of Gaza, it's another. In terms of what it means for carrying on the war, like Israeli society and how they feel about it, and what's going on, which is why you see protests today. Anyway, so that's a little bit of everything. And I'm going to leave it at that because, anyway, we're out here in the sweltering New York City, and the game is, I think it's probably halftime right now. All right, anyway, thank you for tuning in, and hello from New York City.